Hi, welcome to episode 6 of the PassioKnit Spinner Podcast. My name is Tracy. You can find me as Schnüffeltier on Ravelry and Instagram, and as always, I have a sign where it says how it's spelled. Also, I have opened a Ravelry group. It's called the PassioKnit Spinner Podcast. And there is a blog. I did not write that down so far, but I will. It's you can find it on WordPress. It's a WordPress blog, and you can find it at www.thepassionatespinner.wordpress.com. So, okay. What I'm wearing today, I do that all the time when I go to that section. Okay. What I'm wearing today is the Dania shawl by Larissa Gibson. It was in Interweave Knit Spring 2014. I knitted with Shoppel Zauberball, the 6-fach, which means it's a 6-ply, not the 4-ply, which is for the sock weight. It's a little bit thicker. And I used Wollmeise for the edging. I tightened it with a nice shawl pin from Nicholas and Felice. Looks like that. Or more like this when you wear it. I love that shawl pin. And the shawl itself is in this colorway. It's called Schokoladenseite in Germany. I have no idea what English name they gave the yarn, but I do like that shawl a lot. Here you can see the different colored edging. It's a knit-on edge. And this shawl is massive. I mean, it's ginormous. And it's very warm. And I love it. So I'm just going to try to make it not falling off. So we'll see if that will work. I don't think it will. Okay, so onto the normal program. Knitting in the past. I did finish one object this week, or rather two, because it's a pair of socks. And like you know, I love my socks. Here they are. I try to hold it up closer, so that is more like the real color. I knit those socks with handspun yarn. It was not my handspun, it was handspun from Bockstark Yarns, and I'm gonna talk about her later. It's size 38, a German 38, which is my foot size, and I don't know what size that is in US terms. But my feet are about 24 centimeters long. So I love those socks. Handspun socks are the most amazing thing ever. And this yarn is super, super pretty. I did knit those socks with a US 2, which is what I use for socks all the time. And I used my Holz und Stein rosewood needles. And here's their little logo. They're my favorite needle maker in Germany. I adore those needles. They are amazing to work with. Like I said, I use Bockstark yarns. And on the back you can see the Etsy address. And I have a good chunk left. I have this much left. And that's 32 grams. So I'm gonna knit some more handspun socks, and we'll use this rest with the other rests that I will have for some scrappy leftover socks. But it's a good chunk. Oh yeah, I wanted to tell you about the yarn itself. The woman who did spin this yarn, she used Crown Mountain Farms, who's no longer dyeing. It's the Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds colorway because all of their colors were named after songs. It's 100% merino superwash, which is good for socks because I want to be able to throw them in the washing machine. And yeah, I think that's all the information that you need, but you can read it here. So, finished object of the week, a pair of socks. That's all I have finished, and I think one FO per week is, is not going to happen for all of my podcasts because my school break is over. I'm back at school and I have to work, and that's just gonna take a lot of time from my crafting. So, yay. Okay, knitting in the present. I am working finally on the pet sweater. I'm using Wollmeise. It's this yarn. It's Wollmeise Pure in the Amazonas colorway. And you start knitting the pet sweater on the neck, and that's what I have here. Started neck. It's very small, but I still was afraid that it will be too big, so I had my mom measure again, and I think it will be fine. So here what it looks like so far. I now have to start increasing for the rib cage, and then just continue from there. Again, with fingering weight yarn, I'm using US 2 needles. This time it's Knitter's Pride needles, and I love those needles. They are, after my Holz und Stein, those are my favorites. I'm going to show you what it's going to look like when it's done again, just because I think it's such a cute picture. Here it is. This is what I'm working on right now. I have to put everything back in the basket where it came from, because if I don't, I will run out of space here. The next thing I'm working on is a hat. Like I told you last week, I had it in my Knitting in the Future section. Now I have it on the needles. I started it. I only have a crappy black and white picture, but this is the hat that I'm knitting. You can't see a lot of the texture, but I couldn't see the texture in color either, so this is the yarn that I'm using. It's a Lana Grossa yarn. It's a very thick yarn. I think it's called Olympia, but I'm not quite sure. And you start knitting the hat with the brim, which is what I did here. It's, knit in this direction. And I have to attach this round claspy thing before I can sew the brim together, but I don't have one of those, I think. I have to really go looking for it, and then you will pick up the stitches here and continue upwards. I hope to have that done maybe today if I find a clasp. If not, I'm gonna go get a claspy ring thing tomorrow and finish it tomorrow. And the last thing on my needles is the green baby blanket. If you follow me on Instagram, you saw pictures of this already. If not, I'm going to show it to you. I did participate in a blanket square swap a few years ago. And I did receive 3 of the 4 blanket squares that I should have gotten. And they were all different sizes, and none of them was a square. The measurements you should have had were 12 inches, which is 30 centimeters, and not one of the squares that I got had that, and none of the squares I got were actually squares. They are all rectangles. So this one was the largest one. It's 29 by 35 centimeters. It's a nice stitch pattern. I do like it a lot. It's a light sagey green. So as this was the biggest one, I had to make sure that the other ones that I got were the same size. So I got one that looked like this, basically. I'm gonna try to fold away what I have knit on. It's super long, way longer than it should be, and very skinny. So I did knit on some a border to make it larger, so it's exactly the same size as the first rectangle that I just showed you. So I have 2. Then I got a very nice one as well. I do like all of the textured stitches or the stitch patterns that were used, but again, this one is not the size that it should be, so I had to knit on a border. And as I said, I only got 3 of the squares. The 4th one never arrived, so I don't know if it weren't shipped or it just got lost. So I had to knit a 4th one. And originally I planned to knit this blanket for myself, but I totally lost interest in it after not getting everything that I should have gotten and having to knit a lot of squares to go with it. But now, with the baby on the way, I just had to knit 1 more square or rectangle, and I did finish this one yesterday. I'm trying to show you the stitch pattern a bit. It's a woven, looks like a woven stitch, and I did block this to the measurements that the other ones have. So now I have 4 blanket squares or blanket patches that are the same size, and I'm going to seam them together today and start thinking about what or how to proceed with the blanket. So that's my last work in progress right now. Knitting in the future. I do have a few things planned, and I think it's the 3rd time I'm talking about 2 of them. I still want to knit the Langfield hat by Martina Behm to go with my Scarfy Shenanigans scarf, and the Chimera mitts by Julia Müller for the same reason, because I have enough yarn to knit both of those projects in the, to go with my scarf. And I want to knit a baby surprise jacket by Elizabeth Zimmerman. I did not bring a picture because I'm sure everyone knows what it looks like. And I'm going to use some green opal sock yarn for that. So that brings me on to spinning. I did spin quite a lot this week, and I expect this to go down significantly, but I have 2 finished yarns to show. One you already saw last week. I showed you the bobbins for this. It's the Wolinchen from a German shop. It's a superwash Corriedale. The singles were super fine, but they were also super dense. So I only got 337 meters, which is 368 yards, and its skein weighs 188 grams. So it's a very dense yarn, and I haven't gotten as much yardage as I wanted to have. But I still do like it a lot, and I think about maybe knitting a Ishbel out of it. I knit the Ishbel a few years ago, but it turned out way too small, so I gave it away. And it would be nice to have my own Ishbel. Maybe I'll use this one for it. I don't know. And the other yarn, I just decided to spin this up, I think 2 days ago. I wanted to have a quick and dirty in-between spin, because the next thing I'm going to show you, the 3 waters farm that I showed last week, is super fine. So I went for super chunky. I used another 3 waters farm braid for this. It's a BFL silk with 75% BFL, 25% silk in the Santa Fe colorway. I did a traditional 4-ply. I don't know if you can see that, but it has 4 strands in each ply. And I got 63 meters, which is 69 yards and 102 grams. It's super thick. Still, it is very dense. I would have loved for it to be poofier, but it just won't poof, which is okay. And I totally think about knitting a monster out of this for the baby. Just something, a huge snuggly monster to go with this. And I do have the tag from the fiber. Oh, it's here. I have to show you. As it's on a white background, it's really hard for my lighting to work because I have lighting issues every time. Hello? Okay, let's try with the blue part here. I think the tag she uses is too shiny and reflective, so my camera won't work with it. But you can't believe me. It's 3 Waters Farm. It's a BFL Tussle Silk in the Santa Fe colorway, and I'm going to show you once again because I'm very, very happy with it. And it's the first time ever I did a traditional 4-ply, and I love it. I think it's so pretty. It's great. And then I'm still working on the other 3 Waters Farm spin. I showed you one bobbin last week. It's this one here. And I am working on the second bobbin right now. I have about half of it spun so far. Again, I'm trying to show you the sides, but as there is not a lot on them, you won't be able to see a lot. And in comparison like this, you will be able to see how much I still have to go to spin on the yellow bobbin. I am absolutely in love with this. I think it's going to turn out extremely pretty. And I did divide the second braid very different from the first. The first one I just put, I tiered it into 4 pieces. I divided it once in the middle and then down the whole length. And for this I divided it into 4 pieces and split those lengthwise into 4th again. So I have 16 small chunks to spin for this because I really wanted to barber pole. So that's my spinning of the week. I do have a bit of new things to show. I got some yarn. There it is. I ordered from Woolen Vine Yarns. Kristen, she has the Yarngasm podcast. And again, it's a white tag and white on my camera. Yeah, here it is. You can find her shop at Etsy or on Etsy. And I got 3 skeins. I got 1 skein on her Nouveau base. It's a Superwash Merino single. The colorway that I got is Fairy Hair. And I have no idea what I'm going to do with this, but I think a shawl, because single plies are great for shawls. And because I love the colorway, I got 2 skeins of the Outlander. But they are both misfits. They are both on her Lush base, which is a Superwash Merino Cashmere and Nylon blend. So, like I said, I have no idea what I'm going to do with those. I think maybe a shawl, but I'm not sure yet. I could knit myself a pair of socks, or I do have a 3rd skein, which was Outlander 2, which was right in the beginning when she decided, or when she started dyeing this. I could use all 3 and knit myself a summer cardigan with them. Would that be too colorful? I don't know. I have to think about that, but that's an option for sure. Doing a Outlander cardigan. So those are my yarny acquisitions. I also got quite a few books, and I'm gonna try to take them out all at once so I don't have to bend over every second. So I got the new Ply magazine. It's issue 7. And it's the worsted issue. It's all about spinning worsted worsted style. It's Ply magazine. It's put out by Chasey Box, and she's awesome. So I only flipped through this yesterday because I just got it yesterday and I didn't have the time to actually start reading. But I do love Ply magazine. I have all of the issues, and I'm going to continue to subscribe to it because it's amazing. It's an amazing source for spinners. I got a book, a knitting book. It's called the Expectant Little Knits. As the writing is white and the glare from the window, you will not be able to read what it says. But it says, Expectant Little Knits, chic designs for moms to be. And it's just exactly that. It's designs for moms to be. And there's one sweater in here that I really want to knit. I have tagged 6 of the projects with my little post-its here. Some are summer tops, some are, just cardigans. And I really do like this hoodie. I love hoodies in every way. And this hoodie seems to be a great thing to wear while pregnant. Although I would have to get started on it because I'm not going to be pregnant for super long now. So we will see. I got a few quilting books because my crafting room is done. And I wanted to talk about that later, but it fits here. My crafting room is done, which means that I have all of my sewing supplies in here as well with my knitting and spinning stuff. So I'm super, super excited to get back into sewing. So I got a few sewing books. I got little quilts. I got the book Vintage Quilt Revival. Scraps Inc., which is amazing because everyone who sews knows that you just always have scraps. Like, it's the same with knitting. And I have the book that you just cannot see at all. It's called Jelly Roll Quilts because I do have some jelly rolls that I want to sew myself a large quilt with. So those are my acquisitions this week. I just have to clear them out to have all the space in front of me back. I do have a Indie of the Week this week. And you might have guessed already, I'm going to talk a little bit more about Bockstark yarns, beziehungsweise or Bockstark handspun. Like I said before, I love knitting with handspun from others. So I got some of the skeins that she had in her Etsy shop for my birthday last year. And she is just an amazing spinner. She must be, because her yarns are amazing. I love them. I love knitting the socks. And I just got 2 more of her skeins to show to you. The skein on top was spun from a Pigeon Roof Studios fiber braid. The one on top, at the bottom, this one here, is from Hello Yarn, spun from a Hello Yarn fiber. It's this one here is a superwash merino. It's Navajo plied, so it's gonna stripe. As is this one, it's another Navajo ply, and this one here is the merino superwash, and this one is a Rambouillet. It's non-superwash, but I'm still gonna do a pair of socks out of it. Just have to remember to wash it from hand, by hand. Her Etsy shop, I'm gonna try to show you once more the address. Come on. Okay, I'm gonna try with the other tag if I can find it. Where did it go? Here it is. I'm gonna try show you this once again. It did work so great. Can you work again for me, please? Yep. Here it is. You can find her at boxstarknits.etsy.com. She has, like I showed you, a lot of hand spun in her shop, and it's all of the stuff that I have from her is just amazing. And I'm talking about her because she's from Munich, so she is a German indie. And now my camera won't focus back on me. Hello? Can you focus on me? I hate this. I had problems with lighting. Now I have, gotten through those for the most parts, and now my camera won't focus back on me. Okay, yeah, it's focusing here, but I cannot go. Yeah, now it's back on me. Great. So, Boxstark Knits, she's a German, or I'm not sure if she is a German, but she lives in Munich, which definitely is in Germany. And she spins amazing yarn. And it's awesome for knitting socks. So, I have fiber on my yarn. The last thing I'm going to talk about is everything else, like always. And I already touched upon it. My crafting room is done. I had help from my good friend, and she came over and helped me rearrange everything in here. So I'm very happy with it right now. I have all the sewing, all the knitting, all the spinning stuff in here. I was very surprised that everything fit, to be honest, but it's all here. It's all great. And I did start sewing again. I made 3 super small quilts, which were the first real quilts I ever did. And they are just mug rugs. They are not done yet. They still need a binding, all of them. I have cut that as well, but I didn't start binding it because I've never done binding on a quilt, and I'm very afraid of screwing everything up. So that's the last one. I did make 3, as you can see. They will all stay in my crafting room. Here they are. And I'm just going to use them as what they are, as little coasters to go under my tea. So that's what I did sew this week. The other thing, one of my goals for this year was to work through my UFOs. And I decided to get one out at the time, decide if I'm going to finish or frog it. And the first thing I want to show, or I want to, finish, I'm not going to frog this, I'm going to finish this, is a sweater out of this book. It's Best of Knit Scene. And I have 3 tags in here, and I'm not sure which tag I need. The last one, of course. I am knitting the Berkshire Dolman. It's by Melissa Verle. I have no idea how to say her name. I'm very sorry. And it was originally published in the fall issue of 2009 of Knit Scene, and I do have that magazine as well. But I love working with the book, so I just use the book. And I have started it, and I've gotten quite a few of it done, quite a lot of it done. As you can see, it's knit. You start at the bottom, knit up to the neckline. You increase for the sleeves, you do the neckline, and you work your way back down to your bottom, basically. So I did start this with yarns that I just had laying around. I did the bottom ribbing with Schoppelwolle 1004 Dégradé. That's what the yarn is called, in a very nice blue. I had to hold it double because the pattern calls for a bulky weight, and I don't have bulky weight in my stash. And then I did work on the majority of the sweater with gray yarn from Hamburger Wollfabrik, which is a yarn shop in Hamburg, in Germany. And here you can see the increase for the sleeves. And like I said, I decided to finish this one, and I might get back into working on it because I think it's a nice sweater that I can wear now as well, that I'm, you know, growing bigger and bigger every week. And it has to be blocked, of course, because it's ribbing and it's very stretchy. And I think I will fit into this sweater when it's done for quite a while. So that's my first UFO, except for the baby blanket, because that's a UFO of some sorts. So you'll be seeing me knitting on this again. And I think that's everything. Let's see. I don't have anything left on my show notes, which I write down in a notebook. And I think that's it. I hope you have a wonderful week. I'll talk to you again next Sunday. And please come on over to join the Ravelry group. It would be nice to have you there. And as always, I'm gonna put, or not always, because I didn't do the last 2 weeks, but I am going to write down the show notes for this week's episode on the blog for the podcast. So I hope you are all okay. I hope you have wonderful weather, whether it's if you are in summer or winter right now. But yeah, I hope you are okay and wish you all a nice week. Bye.